Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto discovered the real curse of Kyuubi and became Konohagakure's Dark Avenger? Part 4, Naruto times Shizune, Demons of Konohagakure. Oh. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this and comment for next part. And now let's start the fanfic. He is my student after all. Kakashi thought I didn't really have to teach him and Shizune anything, Anko said to him. Kakashi turned to her. You didn't teach them anything? He asked her. Nope. They were secretly the very best of the academy. If I had to say this then Naruto was the best, with Shizune in second, and Sasuke in third, Anko said to him. Kakashi looked back. I doubt that. Come on Sasuke. I give you permission to use that, Kakashi thought with a smile. Anko looked at Kakashi's smile and smiled also. Whatever you have planned Kakashi. It won't work on Naru-kun, Anko thought. Naruto appeared in front of Sasuke and he punched him into the ground with a large bang. Soon the arena was covered in dust as Naruto landed. Sasuke groaned as he got up. This is ridiculous. I know I got stronger. I even have the Sharingan, the best Jujutsu in the world, so why is this Dobi winning? Sasuke thought to himself as he punched the group. Sasuke managed to raise to his feet. Sasuke turned to see Naruto walking towards him. You know what I like bloodline limits Sasuke. Naruto said to him. Sasuke looked at him confused. Because they can't be copied by those damn eyes of yours, you should be grateful. I will show you something totally beyond you speed or your Sharingan. Naruto told him. Sasuke seethed as he managed to back up even with his body aching. Sasuke looked up at Kakashi who nodded with a smile. Sasuke smirked as he looked at Naruto. Sorry Dobi, but you won't get the chance to use whatever it is, because you will fall before me, Sasuke said as he ran up the side of the wall. Sasuke did his hand signs and gripped his left arm. Naruto smiled as he closed his eyes. Sasuke smirked as lighting surrounded his arm. Guy turned to Kakashi. You didn't Kakashi, why the hell would you teach the Uchiha this? Guy asked him. Kakashi smirked. It was for the finals, but I think that Sasuke will end this fight with it, Kakashi said to him. Everyone smiled as they cheered for Sasuke to end the demon spawn. The genin looked in awe at the technique. Naruto is finished. As I said Tenten, a loser is a loser. He can't defy his destiny, Neji said to her. Tenten rolled her eyes. Says the person who got hiskick by his weak cousin, right Neji? Tenten said to him. Neji scowled and turned his head. See Shika, Naruto can't beat Sasuke-kun. I am surprised that he even managed to get those hits on Sasuke as he did, Ino said to him. Shikamaru sighed. Troublesome woman, don't you know the old saying, it's not over till it's over, Shikamaru said to her. Ino huffed. It seems over to me, Ino said to him. Kiba shouted. Shut up Ino. Naruto isn't going to lose to that, Kiba said to her. Ino looked at Kiba. Accept the reality Kiba. Sasuke won, this is over, Ino said to him. Kiba scowled and turned around. I am afraid that I must agree with Ino, Kiba. Naruto has no chance now, Shino said to him. Hinata sighed. Sorry Shino-kun, but Naruto-kun www won't lose, I know that, Hinata said to him. Kiba smirked. See bug boy, Hinata has the right belief, thank you Hinata, Kiba said to her. Hinata nodded. Sure Kiba-kun, Hinata said to him. Lee pumped his fist in the air. Their flames of youth shine most brightly, I vow to get this strong and if I can't it is, Lee stopped as he was slammed into the floor by Tenten. Thank you for shutting up Lee, Tenten said as she sat back down. Now let's see who is more right, Tenten said to everyone. Everyone nodded as they continued to watch. Sasuke finished charging as he ran down the wall. Naruto still had his eyes closed as he gathered some chakra. Sasuke smirked at the free hit he would get on Naruto. Everyone cheered loudly as Sasuke inched closer to Naruto. Sasuke smiled as he appeared right next to Naruto. Chidori, Sasuke yelled. Soon the ball of lighting his Naruto as the lightning flashed around the arena. Everyone covered their eyes as the light blinded them. As the light died down, everyone looked to see Sasuke's palm on Naruto's chest. Sasuke smirked as he backed up. Now fall like the Dobe you are, Sasuke said to Naruto. Naruto remained silent as he stood with his eyes closed. Kakashi smirked as H turned his head. All right Hokage-sama, it is over, call the match, Kakashi said to him. Sarutobi smiled as he continued to look. Kakashi stared at him then put his eyes back on the arena. Kakashi's eye widened in shock at what he deemed impossible. Naruto opened his eyes as he saw his wind covering him. Sorry Sasuke, but your little lighting ball didn't hit me, Naruto said to him. Sasuke cursed as he saw the wall of wind that placed itself between him and Naruto. Naruto smiled as he gathered enough chakra. Alright Sasuke-chan, I will show you my power, Naruto said as his eyes changed red and turned to slits. Naruto managed to become more feral-like as his whiskers came to view more and his claws sharpened. Everyone in the audience gasped at the sudden power as they saw malicious chakra leak off of Naruto. Because of his Sharingan, Sasuke managed to see a demon fox behind Naruto as he backed away in fear. What are you? He asked in fear. Naruto smiled. I am your worst nightmare, Naruto said as he dropped into a stance similar to the Inuzuka clan. Sume, Hana, and Kiba watched with interest at the adaptation of their stance. Naruto's teeth became longer as he smiled at Sasuke. Akuma Kitsune Kishiki. Shoki Akuma no Jiko, Demon Fox Art. Initial Demon Fox Run, Naruto yelled as his chakra flared and his body became covered in chakra. Sasuke gasped at the sheer ki that was released in the form. The whole audience was on its seat as Naruto smiled. Get ready Sasuke, Naruto said as he disappeared. Sasuke snapped out of his daze and got up in order to intercept. As soon as he got up Sasuke was sent into the wall as Naruto showed his speed. Just try and keep up with my speed Sasuke, you will only hurt your eyes in the process, Naruto said as he grabbed Sasuke and slammed him into the adjacent wall. Sasuke gasped in pain as he laid in Naruto's hands. Naruto smirked as he slammed Sasuke in the stomach. Sasuke gasped as blood poured from his mouth. You say I don't know my place, why don't you grow the up, Naruto said to him. If you think that even for a second that I won't kill you, then you are out of luck, Naruto said as he disappeared again. Sasuke seethed as he got up only to be slammed into the ground by Naruto. The sheer force made the ground cushion into a small crater. Naruto smiled as he picked up Sasuke. I will show no sympathy for the arrogant and conceited. Just be sure that you know your place, and know it isn't at the top with Kami, it is down here. To tell you the truth, no one here loves you Sasuke, you are just a breeding tool for more Uchiha. Everyone loves the fact that you possess the Sharingan, but not even your Sharingan or even Kakashi's Sharingan can analyze my speed. So do me a favor and, he slammed Sasuke to the ground as Sasuke dropped out unconscious. Lay there like the son of a bitch that you are, Naruto said as he walked away. Sarutobi sighed as he landed on the field. Medics, Sarutobi yelled. Soon people came out and grabbed Sasuke and took him inside. Winner. Naruto Uzumaki, Sarutobi yelled. Kiba, Sume, Anko, Hana, Zabuza, Kin, Shizune, and Haku all yelled for cheers at Naruto. Naruto smiled as he put up a peace sign. Ino gasped as did Neji and Shino. Kiba, Shikamaru, and Hina cheered also. Kurenai showed a soft smile at her blonde. Oh Naruto-kun, you just made my heart race, Kurenai said to herself. Kakashi gasped along with Asuma and Guy. That's not possible, Kakashi said to them. Kurenai smirked. It is what it is Kakashi. Sasuke got his kicked by my Naruto-kun, Kurenai said with a smile. Asuma cursed as Kurenai looked at him. And someone will leave me alone from now on, Kurenai said turning her gaze to him. Asuma reluctantly nodded. Guy went on about youth as people were less than happy at the result. Anko smiled as she held out a bucket. Pay up use, Naruto won, now hand it over or I will turn you into Snake Chow, Enko said to them. All the people in the stadium who made bets gave her their money as the bucket filled. After she was done, Enko had 20 larger buckets full of money that she sealed into a scroll. Naruto walked out of the stadium as his family and some of his friends along with Kurenai followed. Sarutobi sighed as he walked back up to a still stunned Kakashi. I am more than happy to say that you have gate duty in a week, Kakashi, Sarutobi said as he held up the shinobi demotion paper. Kakashi paled. But Hokage-sama, hey, you made your bed, now you are going to lay in it, Chunin Kakashi, Sarutobi said with a smile as he shunshined to his office. Kakashi shunshined to the hospital to check on Sasuke. Soon the stadium cleared with some more than angry villagers from the result of the fight. With Naruto. Naruto walked out of the stadium to see some of his friends along with his family and Genjutsu mistress. Hello everyone, Naruto said to them. Naruto, that was so cool, I can't believe that you beat Sasuke, the damn chump, Choji said with his eyes on fire and his hand balled into a fist. Naruto smiled. Thank you, Choji, Naruto said to him. You really are unpredictable, Shikamaru said with a smile. It is what a shinobi should be, Naruto said to him. Good WW win, Naruto-kun, Hinata told him. Thank you, Hinata, he said to her. Hinata nodded in deep red. Everyone gave their congrats to Naruto and Shizune, until Haku brought up a question. Though Naruto-kun, couldn't you have ended that faster? She asked him. Naruto smiled. Actually yes, I could have ended that in one punch, but it was fun to see him try, Naruto said with a smile. Everyone laughed in agreement. Kurenai smiled as she tapped his shoulder. Yes, Kurenai-chan, Naruto said to her. Kurenai smiled as she pointed to a private area. Can I talk to you over there? She asked him. Naruto nodded. I guess I got found out, Naruto thought as he walked with her. As the two left the group, Kurenai stared at her blonde. Alright, Naruto-kun, first I want to say congratulations on your win, Kurenai said to him. Naruto nodded. Thank you, Kurenai, Naruto said to her. Kurenai smiled with a nod. Please tell me, who are you? She asked him. Chunin Stadium, medic room. Sasuke and Sakura laid in their beds as the doctor checked them over, exposing the injuries sustained during the pretty much one-sided match. After the checkup, all medics left the two to rest. Sasuke reminisced over the match. Why damn it, why did I lose? I had the Sharingan and my clan's jutsu, but I still lost, Sasuke thought as he gripped the bed sheets. If I can't even beat the Dobi, how am I supposed to beat him? Sasuke thought some more. Sasuke was soon snapped out of his thinking as he turned to see Sakura getting up. Yonhei Sasu, Sakura stopped as she gripped her stomach in pain. Soon memories of the match flowed into her brain as Sakura seethed and punched the wall. That was so damn humiliating. I trained so damn hard to change, and what the hell do I get? Sakura yelled as she laid back into the chair. Sasuke narrowed his eyes at her as he sighed. HMPH, what made you think you could beat them? I wasn't any better off than you, Sasuke said to her. Sakura gasped as she turned to him. No way, Sasuke-kun is the strongest person in the leaf. If only they gave you more power and training, then I know that you could. Shut up, he said, causing her to gasp. I was toyed with and humiliated by the Dobi in front of thousands of people. Even though I had my Sharingan, I still lost, Sasuke said to her. Sakura looked at her bed sheets as she went over his words. Sasuke-kun, would you do me the honor of teaching you some genjutsu? Sakura asked him. Sasuke turned to her and quirked up an eyebrow. Sakura smiled as she looked at him. Whether I lose or not, I am still rumored to be the next genjutsu mistress, and I know about the Sharingan's genjutsu capabilities, so I think that I could teach you an interesting way to torture the demon and his mates, since everyone knows that the Sharingan's genjutsu is unbreakable, Sakura said to him, silently begging that he would say yes. Sasuke stared at her for a full minute as he contemplated her words. Even though she was annoying, he had to admit that she did make some sense. HMPH, Fine Sakura, but if you waste my time, I will not hesitate to drop you aside, Sasuke said to her. Sakura nodded in seriousness though was running around in her head happy. Yes, Sasuke-kun, Sakura said to him as she laid back into the bed. Sasuke followed her lead as he laid in his bed also. Don't worry Dobi, you may have beaten me today, but I will get stronger until the world crumbles at my feet, Sasuke said with a smirk. Area near the Chunin Stadium. Naruto stood with Kurenai as he tried to process her question. Naruto soon narrowed his eyes as he looked at her. What are you talking about Kurenai-chan? I am Naruto, who else would I be? He asked her. Kurenai's smile soon disappeared as a frown came across her face. Naruto-kun, I love you, but I don't like it when someone lies to me. I know that you are almost a Jonin-level shinobi just from that fight alone. I also could feel that your chakra was being masked. It actually surprised me that none of the other Jonin figured it out, Kurenai said to him. Naruto sighed as he felt himself get backed up into a corner. He wanted to avoid this conversation for at least a few more weeks until he was sure he could trust her, but Kami wasn't with him today. As expected of a genjutsu mistress, Naruto said with a chuckle. Kurenai smirked at his saying, but soon brought herself back. Naruto pointed to a tree for the two to sit down. Kurenai nodded as they sat down under a tree and felt a soft breeze rush through their faces. Naruto went over some last thoughts as he felt Kurenai's gaze on him. Okay, in a way you are half right in your thinking, Naruto said to her. Kurenai quirked up an eyebrow as she looked at him. Naruto as he looked at her trying to process his statement. What I mean is that I am Naruto Uzumaki, make no mistake about that, he said to her. Kurenai gazed over him as she took in his form some more. Seeing that he wasn't lying so far, Kurenai nodded and let him continue. However, I have been turned into a Hanyu by the Kyuubi, Naruto said to her. Kurenai quirked up an eyebrow simply because she found this hard to believe. Before you continue, can I have some proof, because this sounds impossible, the genjutsu mistress said to him. Naruto sighed as he got up. Try not to faint, he said to her. Kurenai blushed at his words, but nodded. Kai, he yelled as smoke enveloped him. Soon the smoke vanished as Kurenai blushed redder than a tomato. Naruto smiled as he looked at her. You like this form? He asked her. Kurenai slowly nodded as she saw the cute tail that was swaying behind him. Naruto soon sat back against as he noticed Kurenai snuggled against the tail. Naruto chuckled at the sight as he decided to continue. What I say will change my relationship to you and you might go to the Hokage with this, but I might as well tell you, Naruto told her. Kurenai sat back up as she nodded for him to continue. In all truth and seriousness here Kurenai-chan. I am from the 13 years in the future, Naruto said to her. Kurenai's mind stopped. A part of her could tell he was serious, but the other part thought that this was a joke. I don't have any real proof of showing you that I am from the future, other than the fact that I am much more experienced and stronger than any Genin, Chunin, even Jonin, Naruto said to her. Kurenai nodded almost too intrigued in his story. I have seen where Konoha is headed Kurenai and trust me when I say that it needs to burn to the ground, he paused to gauge her reaction. Kurenai's eyes were wide open as she processed what her boyfriend said to her. Noting the silence, Naruto continued. Simply put Kurenai-chan, I am going to destroy Konoha, Naruto said to her with a slight demonic tone. Kurenai suddenly backed away from him as she took out a kunai. I am sorry Naruto-kun, but I will not let that happen. Konoha is a good place and I don't see how you could say that, Kurenai said in the village's defense. Naruto chuckled a little as he looked at her. Do you remember our date a few days ago? Naruto asked her. Kurenai suddenly went through the memories of their date and her time with him. It was definitely one of the happiest times of her life. Of course I do, but what does that have to do with? Do you also remember the glares of hate and death that the people gave you just because you were with me? Naruto told her as he stood up. Kurenai gasped as she did remember all of the looks as people clenched their teeth in their fists to restrain themselves from hitting Naruto while he was with Kurenai. That was just a small portion, Naruto-kun. That doesn't warrant any kind of. For me, that is the entire village minus a very small group of people, Kurenai-chan. I know that you are one of those few people. Kurenai, my childhood was hell. Never once was I able to walk the streets of Konoha and feel safe. Every day I was brought to the brink of death. I am actually surprised that I didn't die long ago. And to add to that fact, you said that you don't like perverts. Do you even know how many men are perverts in this village? Naruto asked her. Kurenai was shocked as she took in all of this. Naruto hadn't told her about the treatment during their date. He did tell her he had a rough childhood, but what he described seemed like heaven compared to this. Slowly Kurenai nodded. Well, even if there are perverts, that is no reason to kill them for it, Kurenai said to him. Naruto sighed as he felt he should tell her. Kurenai, I really need you to listen to this then. If that is how you feel, this is a must that I must say to you, Naruto said to her as he looked down. Kurenai looked confused as she braced herself. Kurenai-chan, you almost were raped, Naruto said to her. Time suddenly froze for Kurenai as she took in his words. Naruto suddenly shed a tear as he breathed hard to control his emotions. Kurenai slowly cried as she was afraid to let him continue, but nodded. Naruto sighed. This is how it went. Flashback. Kurenai walked the streets of Konoha as she patrolled the village looking for any signs of trouble. As she entered Konoha's red district, Kurenai narrowed her eyes as she felt the perverted stares at her body. Kurenai sighed as she sent some men a death glare. For the most part, some men backed off, but there were still quite a few stubborn men who walked up to her. As they came to her, Kurenai stopped, not even bothering to look the men in the eyes. No, now leave me alone, she said as she began to walk away. Some of the men smirked as they ran up to her. Kurenai, having her defenses down at the time, failed to notice their charge as they hit her back, causing her to fall. Kurenai suddenly turned to them in an angry fashion as she got up. Suddenly Kurenai stumbled back to the ground as she felt exhausted. What the hell did you do to me? She asked them. All three men laughed as they looked at her. We are sick of you telling us no all the time, so we figured we would show you just how fun we can be, one of them said to her. Kurenai's eyes narrowed as she looked at the men. Soon the three men closed the distance between her as they inched close to her. Kurenai backed up in fear of being at someone's mercy. Kurenai screamed as the men tried to rip off her shirt and took her behind an alleyway. Wow, she has a nice set, don't you think, boss? Asked one of the men. The leader smiled as he nodded. She sure does. Now let's have our fun, he said to them. Kurenai shut her eyes in horror as she realized she was helpless before the men. Kurenai shook as she waited for her terror to begin, but it never came. Slowly Kurenai opened her eyes to see someone between her and the men. Kurenai couldn't see the man's face as he had his back turned to her. So what are you threes trying to do to such a lovely woman? The man asked them. The men narrowed their eyes as they took out a few kunai. I don't know who the hell you are, buddy, but don't try to be a hero, one of them said with a laugh. The man sighed as he looked at them. Listen, how about I give you till the count of 5 to get out of my sight before I show you why I was one of the people nominated for the position of Kage, he said to them. Kurenai looked at him and suddenly went through her memories. There were only 2 people nominated for that position. One was Sasuke Uchiha and the other was. Kurenai's face suddenly went up in realization. Naruto Uzumaki, she said to herself. Soon all 3 men charged as the blonde smirked. Don't say I didn't warn you, fool, the blonde said as he grabbed a kunai and charged the 3 men. Naruto soon appeared at the end of the alley as all 3 men dropped dead on the ground. Naruto soon turned to Kurenai, who was slightly trembling. Are you okay, Kurenai? He asked her. Kurenai looked at him and slowly nodded. Yes, Naruto, I am fine, she said to him. Flashback end. Kurenai's face went blank as she processed Naruto's words. Kurenai then turned her head as she looked at the ground in sadness. Naruto looked at her as he began to walk up to her. Could you honestly say that you would want people like that to live, Kurenai? Naruto asked her. Kurenai was too shaken up to answer as she felt her words get shoved down her throat. I protected such people. I put my life on the line for these people and they tried do such things me. Kurenai thought as the memory burned into her brain from Naruto. Kurenai, it took you about 1 month to even start feeling better to return to duties, Naruto said to her. Kurenai's shaking increased as she heard him. Kurenai slowly went to tears as she clutched her body. I told him that they were worth saving. I said that they should live. I defended my own civilians. For the longest time I had been told that Konoha had the most upright civilians in all of the 5 great nations. Is this really the Konoha that everyone loves so much? Kurenai said in her thoughts. Naruto knelt down as he wrapped his arms around her. Kurenai looked at Naruto as she felt his hard muscles on her body. How can my own village do this? I don't know what to believe anymore, Kurenai said to Naruto as she stayed in his hug. Naruto didn't decide to let go of Kurenai until she was calm with herself about the matter. Kurenai, I am sorry for telling you this, but I want you to understand that this village must burn. For me personally, yes, this is a revenge thing, but it is also for others, Kurenai, Naruto slowly said to her. Kurenai didn't respond as Naruto continued to explain. He told her how Sasuke would become the Rokudaime Hokage and because of him, Konoha would begin a world conquest trying to take control of all the great nations. He also told her that their friends were killed by Sasuke for not following his foolish orders. Though he was reluctant, he also told her how Sasuke put her under a genjutsu to kill Anko, which did succeed. Kurenai was crying so much that the top of Naruto's clothes were soaked. Naruto sighed as he let her take in the information. For Kurenai, it seemed that the world of Konoha, that peaceful world that she grew up in, was being destroyed as she felt trembling anger right now. Naruto soon let her go as he cupped her sad cheeks. Kurenai-chan, I love you and I absolutely am not going to let this happen. I feel with all my might that this revenge is a just one. I am sorry that I had to tell you this, but I felt that I needed to, Naruto said to her. Kurenai soon began to tremble from the lack of physical contact as she looked up at Naruto with her eyes still red from the tears. Naruto soon turned to walk away. I will destroy Konoha, Kurenai, you can tell Gigi if you want, but that won't hinder me. Really, you could tell all of Konoha and have them try to stop me, but the result is the same, Naruto said to her. Kurenai looked at him then looked at the ground. I am more than willing to wait for your say, Naruto said to her. Kurenai slowly trembled some more as she tried to find the right words. 20 minutes later, nothing. 40 minutes later, nothing. Soon Kurenai stopped trembling as she looked to see Naruto leaning on a tree. Kurenai slowly, but surely got up and walked over to him and sat down. Kurenai slowly leaned her head on Naruto's shoulder as she felt his warmth. Naruto sighed as he slowly brought his arm around her and brought her closer. Kurenai almost flinched, but resisted the urge to because she felt a deep connection to Naruto through the talk. Kurenai slowly went to sleep as she laid on his shoulder. Naruto was more than content with this as he was happy that she didn't attack him nor leave him. If you'll let me, Kurenai-chan, I will not let this happen to you or anyone I love, Naruto thought as he formed a mental link to Shizune. With Shizune and the others, everyone was walking through the village as they were about to go home for the day. Everyone talked about how cool the match of Naruto and Sasuke was along with Shizune and Sakura's match. Shizune chuckled until she heard the voice of her demon mate. You there, Shizu-chan? Yes, Naru-kun, I'm here. What is it? Quote, I told Kurenai about the plan, and she didn't really take it well. What I mean is that the sadness of knowing this overloaded her and she is now sleeping on my shoulder. Tell everyone that I might be getting back quite late. I can't leave Kurenai-chan alone like this. Shizune smiled as she gave a mental nod. Sure, Naruto-kun, console her for as long as she needs it. I can help everyone with their training, but right now Kurenai is your main focus. Alright then Naruto-kun, see you at home. See you at home Shizu-chan. Naruto having finished the conversation ended the mental link. Shizune smiled as she ran up to the group. Alright everyone, Naruto-kun is getting back late. So we are going to have our training today. Now let's all go back to the compound and train hard, Shizune said to them. Everyone nodded with a smile as they all went home. With Naruto and Kurenai, 4 hours later. Naruto woke up as he shifted his gaze over to the setting sun. Naruto smiled slightly as he turned to see the sleeping Genjutsu mistress. Naruto could see a few tears roll off her cheeks as he slowly planted a kiss on her cheek, causing her to smile. Kurenai slowly woke up and gazed at Naruto, who was smiling. Kurenai slowly frowned, then looked at the ground. Is that really how the future for Konoha will be? She asked him. Naruto sighed as turned to look forward. Yes Kurenai-chan, I won't let that happen though, Naruto told her with a fierce determination. Kurenai slowly smiled as she looked at him. Soon one last question formed into her head. What did they do to you? She asked him. Naruto's eyes suddenly slitted as he tried to control his breathing. They bound me and Shizune and took us to the top of the Hokage mansion. Then they forcefully took away my and Shizune's child from her arms and gave her to Sasuke. Sasuke then killed my child in front of me as the village began to beat my dead child, Naruto said to her. Kurenai gasped at his pain as she looked at him. Kurenai could always feel boundless strength from Naruto, but even he had his limits. Naruto always had a forgiving heart, but even the most forgiving heart can only take so much forgiveness until it virtually crumbles to pieces. Kurenai could feel her hatred for Konoha flare, though she still felt a bit sad for turning against her home, she knew that this was right. Naruto-kun, let me join you in the destruction of Konoha, Kurenai said to him. Naruto turned to her virtually shocked. Are you sure Kurenai-chan? I don't want you to feel that you were forced to join me, Naruto said to her. Kurenai smiled as she shook her head. No Naruto-kun, I love you and I can see that this isn't a village worth saving if this is its future. I will fight beside you and whoever you bring into your plans, Kurenai said to him with a lot of determination and courage. Naruto smiled as he kissed her on her lips. Kurenai slowly accepted the kiss as she let his tongue roam around in her mouth. Soon her tongue fought back as they wrestled for dominance. After the need for air became too great, both parted with a slight pant. Naruto smiled as he hugged Kurenai. Thank you Kurenai-chan, I can't tell you how happy I am to have you by my side. I swear that won't happen to you in the future, won't happen here. I will protect you and all of my precious people, Naruto said to her. Kurenai slowly cried, but nodded. Thank you Naruto-kun. I am more than willing to help you with your revenge, Kurenai said to him. Naruto nodded as the two got up and walked back to Kurenai's house. With Gaara, Kankuro, Temari, and Baki. Everyone was sitting around the table as Baki contemplated their words. You're telling me that not only does he know about the invasion, but also that our Cage was killed? Baki asked them. All three nodded in agreement. Baki sighed as he went into a thinking pose. If what he says is true, then we are in big trouble. We need to confirm this, and if he is right we will need to overthrow Orochimaru and pull this invasion back before it is too late, Baki said to them. Temari soon stood up. So what are we supposed to do for now? She asked him. Baki soon turned to her. You three will continue to train, but I will go back to Suna and report this to the others, Baki said as he shunshined out of sight. The three siblings soon sat down. Well, that kid certainly did figure us out, Kankuro told them. Temari nodded. He sure did, but I will have to admit that he is cute, Temari said with a blush. Kankuro's sweat dropped. Whatever you say Temari, Kankuro said as he went to sleep. I am going to kill him, Gaara told them as he used a sand shunshin and left. I wonder how easy that against such a hot boy, Temari said as she laid on the bed also. Streets of Konoha, nighttime. The moon loomed over Konoha as people soon populated the streets. As people entered shops and stores, most couldn't resist staring at a certain blonde and his brunette companion. As they walked through the streets, the brunette couldn't help but sneer. Man, I have never been so angry at my own village before, Kurenai said to him. Naruto sighed as they continued to walk. It's the reality, Kurenai, but I will change that reality as I make Sasuke squirm, Naruto said to her. Kurenai nodded as they decided to ignore the glares and shunshined out of sight. Kurenai's apartment. As the couple appeared in front of Kurenai's house, they could only stare at the door as they tried to figure out what to say. After a few minutes of silence, Kurenai decided to open the door. Naruto soon looked up and smiled. Are you going to be okay, Kur-chan? Naruto asked, a little worried for Kurenai at the moment. Kurenai soon stopped as she turned to Naruto. It made her smile that he was so worried about her. Kurenai smiled as best she could and nodded. Yes, Naruto-kun, I am going to be just fine. I will see you tomorrow. She asked him. Naruto looked at her and shook his head. Sorry, Kur-chan, but I found out who my mother is and that I am going to look for her tomorrow, Naruto said to her. Kurenai looked down, but shook her head. Oh, okay, Naruto-kun, Kurenai said, a little sad that she wouldn't be able to spend time with Naruto tomorrow. Naruto sighed as he decided to walk away. As he reached the stairs, Naruto's eyes grew wide in realization as he stormed back. Hey, Kur-chan, Naruto said to her. Kurenai looked at him in confusion, wondering why he was back. Yes, Naruto-kun, she asked him. Naruto smiled as he looked up at her. Do you want to come with me? Naruto asked her. Kurenai soon looked at him and brought up a thinking pose. Sure, I would love to go naturally, but I have to train my Shino and Hinata for the month, Kurenai thought. Kakashi had suddenly dropped the 2 genin on her as he told her that he didn't have the time to train them and would be training Sasuke. Kurenai sighed, but did agree to train them for the month. Naruto smiled as he seemed to be reading her mind. If it's Shino and Hinata that you're worried about, then you can bring them also, Naruto said to her. Kurenai soon slammed a fist into her palm. That's right, I could do that. I could say that it was for training and we could help Naruto-kun at the same time, Kurenai said in her thoughts. Naruto watched as Kurenai went through various emotions and faces. Kurenai went from confused to thinking to sad to happy. Man, I haven't seen anyone go through their emotions like that except me, Naruto said to himself. Naruto watched as Kurenai smiled and nodded. Yes, I can do that, Naruto-kun, when are you leaving? Kurenai asked him. Naruto soon smiled as he grabbed Kurenai's hands, almost making her blush. I am leaving with Sum-chan and Anko-chan at 4 o'clock p.m. Don't be late, Naruto said to her. Kurenai nodded with a smile as she closed her door. See you tomorrow, Naruto-kun, Kurenai said to him. Naruto nodded with a smile as he shunshined home in a whirl of fire. Namikaze compound. Naruto appeared in front of his house as he saw that the lights were on. Naruto smiled as he walked up to the door and opened it. I'm home, everyone, Naruto yelled. Naruto was soon tackled by his snake mistress as he got his bearings. Nice to see you too, hubby Haim, Naruto said to her. Anko nodded with a smile as she gave him a quick kiss on the cheek, almost making her tail sway behind her. So how is Nai-chan? Anko asked him. Naruto smiled as he got up. He soon graced his hand across Anko's cheek as he looked at her. She is going to be fine and she is coming with you, me, and Sum-chan tomorrow along with her squad, Naruto said to her. Anko nodded with a smile. So we are look for Kushina tomorrow? She asked him. Naruto looked at her and nodded. That's right, Anko, so go get packed and please tell Sum-chan for me, okay? Naruto said to her. Anko nodded as she ran upstairs. Naruto soon looked around to see that almost everyone had gone to sleep. Naruto chuckled as he roamed the house. Okay, either everyone drained themselves training or they all fought Shizu-chan and got their butts kicked. Either of these, but I have no idea, Naruto said as he decided to go upstairs. With Anko. Anko roamed the room as she looked for Sum. Anko was quite happy to go out the village for a while as her tail swayed, showing her happiness. I can't wait to leave, Anko said as she came up to Sum's room. Anko smiled as she knocked on the door. Sum soon smiled as she got up from bed and went to the door and opened it to see Anko. Hey Anko, what's up? Sum said to her. Anko smiled as she looked at Sum. Sum, we are leaving with Naruto-kun, myself, you and Nai-chan tomorrow, Anko said to her. Sum smiled as she sighed. I take it he got her to agree then? Sum asked in an excited tone. Anko nodded. Yup. So get packed for tomorrow, we leave at 4 p.m. tomorrow, Anko said to her. Sum nodded as she closed her door to get packed. Anko soon ran to her room as she felt excited. Time to pack, Anko said as she closed the door to her room. Naruto smiled as he walked upstairs. He could hear the conversation between Anko and Sum as he came upstairs. Naruto could also hear Sum hum as she packed her clothes and some weapons to take with her. Naruto smiled as he headed for his room. As he entered his room, he could see Shizune on the bed reading a book called Introduction to Torture. Naruto smiled as he stayed at the door. No, hello Shizune-chan, Naruto asked her. Shizune looked from her book to see her blonde at the entrance. Oh sorry Naruto-kun, but this is a real great book. Did you know that if you slice the stomach open and quickly repair the skin, you can cause the acids to fall out and literally burn the victim, causing unimaginable pain? Shizune said to her in a more than eccentric tone. Naruto smiled as he took off his clothes and went to get his pajamas. No, I didn't know that Shizune-chan, but that sounds very interesting, Naruto said to her in a demon-like chuckle. Shizune nodded as she set her book down. She soon walked over to Naruto and wrapped her arms around the blonde Hanyu. Be sure to bring her back Naruto-kun. I would really like to see my mother-in-law, Shizune said to him. Naruto simply nodded. I will bring her back Shizune-chan, count on that, Naruto said to her. Shizune smiled as she kissed his cheek. Naruto chuckled as he accepted her love. As Shizune pulled back, she went back to her book. Naruto soon laid in the bed and went to sleep. Next morning, 9 o'clock. Naruto soon stirred awake as his eyes adjusted to the sunlight. Naruto turned to see Shizune sleeping next to him. Naruto smiled as he kissed her cheek, causing Shizune to mumble a little before settling down back into her draya. Naruto soon got out of bed and went to wash up. Okay, all supplies are packed and now I should go to Gigi to tell him I am leaving, Naruto thought as he washed his body. With Kurenai. Kurenai woke up from her bed as she smiled. She soon got up and headed for the washroom. Okay, time to go meet the Shino and Hinata and tell them about the recent events, Kurenai said with a smile as she took a quick shower and put on her clothes and walked out the door. Training field. Shino and Hinata were quietly sitting in the field as they waited for the Genjutsu mistress to appear and help them with their training. When do you think she will get here? Shino asked her. Hinata looked at him and sighed. I have no idea Shino-kun, but I hope that she gets here soon. It would be a waste of a day not to come, Hinata said to him. Shino simply nodded. Oh well, patience is a virtue I guess, Shino said to her. Hinata chuckled with a nod as they waited for Kurenai. 13 minutes later, Kurenai soon arrived at the field as she spotted the two genin. Kurenai smiled as she decided to make herself known. Good morning you two, Kurenai said to them. Both genin looked up to see the Genjutsu mistress in front of them as they got up. Good morning Kurenai-sensei, they said with a bow. Kurenai nodded as she led them to the center of the field. Alright you two, before we start your training, I want to tell you both something, she said to them. Shino and Hinata quirked up as they looked at her. What is it sensei? Shino asked her. Kurenai smiled as she looked at them. We are going on a little trip, she said to them with a smile. Both looked at each other then at her in a confused look. Where are we going? Hinata asked her. Kurenai smiled as she looked at them. We are going on a bit of a mission along with some other people, Kurenai said to them. Both became wide-eyed, though with Shino and his glasses no one knew it. We will be leaving at 4 p.m. today, so be sure to get packed for the trip, Kurenai said to them. Both reluctantly nodded, but only from the lack of information. Alright, now we will start your training, but try not to wear yourselves out, she said to them. Both nodded as they got up. Alright, to start we will be training you in elemental ninjutsu. I know that your clans might look down on this and tell you to rely on your clan techniques, but you and even they need to learn to diversify their abilities, Kurenai said to them. Both nodded as Kurenai took out a slip of paper. Alright, I want you to channel your chakra through this paper. It will tell us what kind of affinity you both have. If the paper burns, then you have fire. If it turns wet, it is water. If it crinkles, you have lightning. If it crumbles into dust, then why? Oh, you have earth. Got all that? She asked them. Both nodded as they each took a paper and channeled their chakra into it. After a few minutes of channeling, Kurenai looked at the papers. Shino's paper crumbled and Hinata's paper crinkled. Okay. Earth for Shino and lighting for Hinata. Nice job, Kurenai said to them. Both nodded as they looked at her. Kurenai smiled as she took out a scroll. Sorry Shino, but I don't know any Doden techniques, so here is a scroll describing the use of Doden, and a number of jutsus are in it also, Ku. Renee said to him. Shino nodded, grabbed the scroll and walked off. Kurenai soon turned her gaze to Hinata. Also Hinata, I have a limited knowledge of Raiden techniques, so I can help you get started, but you might have to check the library for more research, Kurenai said to her. Hinata nodded as she listened to Kurenai explain what she knew about lighting nature. Shino read through the scroll, making sure to note the exercises involved in said scroll. With Naruto. Naruto smiled as he walked through the streets, completely ignoring the obvious glares that people were giving him. Naruto smiled evilly under his clothes as he looked at them. I can only smile when I think of ripping you people to shreds. Know that only my precious people will be living through the surprise that I have planned for yous, Naruto said in his thoughts. As Naruto walked, he suddenly looked to the right to see his favorite ramen stand. Naruto smiled as he went inside. Hello Oji-san, hello Ayame-chan, Naruto said to them. Both turned their heads to see their favorite blonde in a seat. Oh Naruto-kun, how are you doing? Ayame said to him. Naruto smiled as he sat down. Not doing too bad here Ayame-chan. I am about to go on a mission to find my mother, Naruto said to them. Both were shocked that Naruto's mother was alive, but were happy to know that Naruto had a family member still alive. That sounds wonderful Naruto-kun, you will have to bring her here when you get her to come back, Ayame said to him. Naruto nodded as he took a pair of chopsticks. So what will you have Naruto? Tsuki asked him. Naruto smiled as he looked at the man. One bowl of miso ramen and another bowl of barbecue ramen, Naruto said to him. Tsuki smiled with a nod as he and Ayame started to prepare the food. Naruto smiled as he saw them work. I really missed you guys, Naruto thought. In the future, Tsuki and his daughter left the village due to the insanity of Sasuke's orders. Naruto was really sad when they left, but wished them luck wherever they were. Naruto hadn't heard from them all his life after they left. I will definitely save you guys, Naruto nearly said aloud. Ayame turned around and looked at Naruto. You say something Naruto? She asked him. Naruto looked at her and chuckled. No Ayame-chan. Just talking to myself, Naruto said to her. Ayame nodded as she presented the 2 bowls of ramen to Naruto. Naruto smiled as he smelled the awesome aroma coming from both bowls. Naruto broke his chopsticks as he clasped his hands. Itadakimasu, Naruto said as he slurped the miso ramen first. Naruto smiled as he savored the taste of ramen in his mouth. Tsuki and Ayame smiled as their customer ate their food with gusto. Naruto soon finished the miso as he gulped the soup. Perfect as always Oji-san, Naruto said to him. Tsuki nodded with a smile as he looked at Naruto. Of course it is Naruto. I am not old enough to kick the bucket yet, Tsuki told him. Naruto nodded with a smile as he slurped the barbecue ramen. 10 seconds later, Naruto gulped the soup and set the bowl on the counter. Naruto smiled as he wiped his mouth. Delicious. Thanks Oji-san. How much do I owe you? Naruto asked him. Tsuki smiled as he looked at Naruto. That will be 440 yen Naruto, Tyuki told him. Naruto nodded as he pulled out his wallet and paid the man his money. Naruto smiled with a wave as he walked off. I will definitely save you too, Naruto thought as he shunshined to the Hokage mansion. Hokage Mansion, 12 o'clock p.m. Sarutobi was currently tackling his greatest thing that could cause the cage to suffer. His paperwork. Sarutobi sighed as he went through the stacks upon stacks of paperwork laid out in front of him. Soon his eyes widened as he saw a Shunshin appear in his office with a blonde stepping out of said Shunshin. Sarutobi smiled as he stopped his paperwork. Good afternoon Naruto-kun, Sarutobi said to him. Naruto smiled as he nodded. Good afternoon Gigi, he replied. So how can I help you today? He asked him. Naruto smiled with a nod as he stepped forward. I would like to start looking for my mother, Naruto said to him. Sarutobi's smile slightly wavered as he sighed. I knew this was going to come eventually though I didn't think so early. Well I am not going to stop you, go find your mother, but you must have an escort with you, he said to the blonde Hanyu. Naruto nodded. I know that Anko-chan, Kurenai-chan, Sum-chan, Shino and Hinata are coming with me, Naruto said to him. Sarutobi slightly gasped as he heard the list. Well okay I suppose that is alright. When are you leaving? He asked Naruto. Naruto smiled as he shrugged his shoulders. Around 4 o'clock p.m., is that okay? He asked. Sarutobi nodded and signed a document. Alright you are cleared to leave, good luck Naruto-kun, Sarutobi said to him. Naruto nodded as he headed for the door, but soon turned around. Oh and Gigi, Sarutobi looked up at him. Yes Naruto-kun, he answered. Naruto smiled as he leaned on the door. You might want to put the Kage Bunshin no Jutsu to good use and get rid of that big stack of paperwork, Naruto said as he closed the door leaving a dumbfounded Sarutobi behind his desk. Naruto smiled as he walked out of the mansion only to fall on the ground laughing as he heard Sarutobi. Stupid, stupid, stupid. What is wrong with me? He yelled. Naruto laughed as he tried to calm down. After a few minutes of laughing, Naruto got up and began to walk through the village. Soon Naruto smiled evilly as he knew his next destination. Might as well find that no good excuse for a pervert, Naruto said as he went to the only place he knew where the Toad Sage was. Naruto appeared in front of the hot spring as he looked around. Alright where are you Ero Sennin? Naruto wondered as he looked around. Naruto smiled as he heard perverted giggling from the right side of his face. Naruto turned his head to see said man peeking through a hole and writing in his book. Naruto sighed as he walked up to the man. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he focused some chakra to his foot. Naruto smiled as he took some air into his lungs. Ah, you are a pervert, Naruto yelled as he kicked the Sannin into the women's bath. All women screamed as they saw the white-haired man crash into their side. Jiraiya looked up and smiled sheepishly as they all cracked their fists. And now ladies, there is no need to get violent, he said as Naruto covered his ears. Soon the man's scream filled Konoha as everyone wondered where the sound came from. Sarutobi was in his chair as he smiled. Got what you deserved Jiraiya, he said as he continued his paperwork with his shadow clones. After the harsh beating, Jiraiya slowly emerged from the bathhouse to see Naruto sitting on the bridge. That was a dirty move Gaki, Jiraiya said to him. Naruto rolled his eyes. Whatever Ero Sennin, well I got what I wanted so I am going to go. Oh and I am sure that my father would be disappointed in you for how you treated your godson, Naruto said causing the Jiraiya's eyes to widen. What is your name Gaki? He asked Naruto. Naruto sighed as he looked at Jiraiya. Jiraiya flinched at how cold his eyes were, but seemed to manage. Really I don't think you have the right to know my name, but I will say it. I am Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruto said to him. Jiraiya flinched as he stepped back. Was that a shock to you? Well maybe if you stayed here like you were supposed to then you might have known that instead of writing your perverted load of crap, Naruto said to him. Jiraiya narrowed his eyes at Naruto as he stepped forward. Listen Naruto, I might have made some mistakes, but I was your father's sensei and I think I deserve some respect, Jiraiya said to him. Naruto narrowed his eyes, but then soon started to laugh as he looked at Jiraiya. You deserve respect, huh? Well, when you do something worthy of respect, let me know, because from all I have seen, you are just a stupid pervert whose only pastime is writing for that damn book of yours. You sure as hell haven't earned my respect of all, Jiraiya, so don't demand my respect like you can get it so easily with just a few words, Naruto said to him. Jiraiya sighed as he sat next to Naruto. Then how about to make up for lost time, I train you and have you sign the Toad contract. Your father was a summoner for toads and I think you should follow him, Jiraiya said to Naruto. First of all, Jiraiya, I don't give a damn what you think and I will not sign with the toads only because your name is there. You say my father signed for them, well, good for him, but I will find my own summoning contract, Naruto said to him. Jiraiya gasped as he watched Naruto get up. I have had enough of talking to you. Goodbye, Jiraiya, Naruto said as he shunshined out of sight, leaving Jiraiya to pond. Are his words. Naruto sighed as he shunshined home and grabbed his stuff. After a quick kiss from Shizune, Naruto headed for the gates of Konoha. Gates of Konoha. Naruto smiled as he appeared in front of the gates. Soon Tsume, Kuromaru, and Anko appeared behind him. Hey Naruto-kun, ready to find your mother? Anko asked him. Naruto smiled. You know it, Anko, Naruto said to her with a smile. Soon Kurenai along with Shino and Hinata appeared. Naruto, what are you doing here? Shino asked him. Naruto smiled as he looked at Kurenai then Shino. I am going on a trip, Naruto said to them. Both gasped. What a coincidence, so are we, Hinata said to him. Naruto chuckled as he turned to Kurenai. You didn't tell them, did you, Benihime? Naruto asked her. Kurenai smiled. I was going to get to it, she said as she turned to Shino and Hinata. We are going on the trip with Naruto-kun, we have already been to go. We are going to help Naruto-kun find his mother and I will be training you until we get there, Kurenai said to them. Both turned to her then looked at Naruto who nodded. Hinata nodded slightly and Shino reluctantly nodded. Alright Naruto-kun, lead the way, Kurenai said to him. Naruto smiled with a nod as he walked out the gates. Alright everyone, let's go and find her, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded as they jumped into the trees and ran off. Naruto and his group were running through the trees as they all made their way towards Wave Country. Everyone felt a bit of tension as Naruto had on a serious face as they all ran. Deciding to see what the problem was, Tsume, Anko closed the distance between them and Naruto. Naru-kun, are you alright? Anko asked him. Naruto soon turned to her and smiled. Yeah, Anko-chan, I am fine, just thinking of her reaction to seeing me, Naruto said to her. Anko nodded that she was anxious to see the reaction also. Tsume smiled as she looked at him. So what reaction do you think she will have? Tsume asked him. Naruto looked at Tsume and smiled slightly. In all honesty, I don't know. I just hope that it is a good reaction, Naruto said to her. Tsume nodded as the three people behind them were in their own conversation. So we are looking for Naruto's mother? Shino asked Kurenai. Kurenai smiled with a nod. That is right, Shino, and along the way, we are going to be training until we find her or until Naruto-kun gives up, which I doubt he will, Kurenai said to him. Shino nodded in agreement along with Hinata. I wonder what Naruto-kun's mother looks like, Hinata said with a slight stutter in her voice. Kurenai shrugged her shoulders. I have no idea, but I think she might be nice, Kurenai said to her. Hinata nodded as everyone raced through the trees. Somewhere in the middle of nowhere, 10 astral projects of people appeared and stood on the top of 10 fingers of a giant statue. As everyone assembled with their black coats with red clouds on each. One person had the Sharingan activated along with someone carrying a giant sword. Alright, the meeting is underway now, the leader said to the rest. Everyone nodded as he began. How is the hunt for the Jinchuriki and their Biju? He asked them. A man with blonde hair sighed. We haven't made that much progress, all we have is the fourth and the fifth hymn, he replied. So should we all begin our operations of capturing the others? A woman asked. It would be a good idea to start now. We do have our dream to realize after all, a man said with his Venus flytrap head. Everyone nodded as their leader turned to face someone. All right Itachi, Kisame, go and capture the Nine Tails Jinchuriki, but after that hopeless war that Orochimaru has planned against Konoha, is that clear? The man with the Rinnegan said to them. Crystal clear, Leader Sama, Kisame said to him with a laugh. Very well. That is all for everyone. Dismissed, he said to them. Everyone nodded as the figures soon disappeared, leaving a vacant and desolate statue in the cave. Back in Konoha, training ground. All was tranquil and quiet as the wind blew the still leaves from the trees. The field was peaceful and silent, but not vacant. Two people were on the field discussing things as it seemed that both were mediating. Very good Sasuke-kun, keep it up, said a certain pink banshee. And with her was the all-praised Uchiha in all his emo glory as he had his eyes closed and concentrated. Sasuke soon opened his eyes to reveal his Sharingan that he had taken much pride in. Alright, the Sharingan is active, now what? He asked her, ready to get on with his Genjutsu training. Alright Sasuke-kun. Genjutsu is about using your chakra to influence your opponent's mind. With your chakra you influence the five senses and are able to project an illusion of it to your opponent, causing them to unnerve, Sakura explained to him. Sasuke nodded as he absorbed all of her words. Now I will give you an example, Sakura said to him. Sakura did her hand signs as Sasuke watched. Soon Sakura disappeared from his view. Sasuke looked around as he tried to find her. Soon Sasuke looked at the ground as he started to sink. What the hell? When did this start happening? Sasuke wondered as he tried to escape. Soon the Sasuke only had his head poking out as the sinking stopped. Damn it, Sakura, get me out of here, Sasuke said, but there was no response. Soon Naruto showed up and smiled. Wow Sasuke, you let's play whack-a-mole, Naruto said as he cracked his fist. Sasuke gritted his teeth as Naruto brought his punch back. Fall into despair, he said as he launched his punch. Sasuke shivered as the punch never came. Sasuke looked up to see a smiling Sakura in front of him. What the hell was that? He asked her, though it sounded more like an order to be answered. Sakura smiled. That is Genjutsu, Sasuke-kun. That ability to manipulate the flow of your opponent's chakra and their senses to your specifications, Sakura said to him. Sasuke was more than interested now. With such a useful jutsu he could definitely defeat his brother for what he had done. Sasuke smirked as he got up. Teach me, Sakura. I will use this skill to bring about my revenge, Sasuke said to her. Sakura nodded and began to instruct Sasuke into the arts of Genjutsu, unaware that someone was watching them. I doubt this is nothing, but I better tell Shizune-san about this, Haku said with a smile as she shunshined out of sight. Meanwhile, an old teacher and his student were getting reacquainted with each other. Hokage Mansion. So are you still peeping, or have you finally stopped your ways? Sarutobi asked his white-haired student. The man laughed as he took out a book. Please, don't act like you don't read my books. I didn't know you were such a fan, Jiraiya said to the Hokage. Sarutobi blushed as he held up his hand and coughed in some embarrassment. Jiraiya smiled at his sensei's antics, but soon got serious. But on a more serious note, sensei. What happened to the Gaki? Jiraiya asked him. Sarutobi stopped his blush and looked at him. He had a general idea of who Jiraiya was talking about, but decided to ask. What Gaki? Sarutobi asked him. Jiraiya sighed. The brat Naruto Uzumaki, Jiraiya replied. Sarutobi quirked up an eyebrow after the reply. What is wrong with him? He honestly wanted to know. He hates me for some reason, Jiraiya said to him in plain words. Sarutobi almost choked on those words as he looked at Jiraiya. Are you sure, Jiraiya? I have known Naruto for a long time and I doubt that he hates anyone, Sarutobi answered, not knowing how wrong he was. Trust me, Gigi, He definitely didn't like me the first time he saw me, and he refused the Toad contract, saying that he hated that my name was in it and he would find his own, Jiraiya said to him. Well, he does know about his father, and I guess he found out about your connection to him and came to R. He sent you for not being there for him, Sarutobi said to him. Jiraiya scoffed. Come on, Gigi. I had the spy network to run and I couldn't take him with me, you know that, Jiraiya said to him. Sarutobi held up his hands. Hey Jiraiya, you are telling the wrong person. Whatever you did, you need to apologize to Naruto for it, not me, Sarutobi said to him. Jiraiya crossed his arms and sighed. I just wish that I knew what I did wrong, he said before he exited the office. Sarutobi sighed as he looked out the window. You are always an enigma, Naruto, but I believe in you, Sarutobi thought. Soon he smiled and made a shadow clone. I am so happy for this jutsu, Sarutobi said as he formed a tear. Namikaze compound. Haku arrived home as she saw some of the people around the house. Haku saw Kiba and Zabuza training in the garden, while Hana was teaching Kin about her affinity, which happened water. Haku smiled as she scanned the area looking for Shizune. Haku couldn't find Shizune downstairs and went upstairs as she searched the house. As she went through the house, Haku looked through the doors of the room to find Shizune. Haku soon came to the last room and opened the door to see Shizune on the bed reading a book. Hey Shizune-san, Haku said, alerting the Hanyu medic Nin to her presence. Hey Haku, how are you doing? Shizune asked her. Haku smiled as she neared Shizune. I am doing good, Shizune-san, but actually I have a favor to ask of you, Haku said to her. Shizune looked up from her book and smiled. What is it? I am more than happy to help, Shizune said to her. Haku nodded with a smile as she sat on the bed. I would like to spar with you. I have a new jutsu and I want to test it out with some help for the Chunin exams, Haku said to her. Shizune looked at her for a second. She then adopted a thinking pose as she pondered Haku's request. In truth, she was wondering what Haku's new jutsu could be. Sighing, she put her book down and nodded. All right Haku, let's go out back, Shizune said to her. Haku nodded as they both got up. Thank you Shizune-san, Haku said to her. Shizune smiled. No need for formalities Haku, we are all family here, just Shizune, she said to her. Haku looked at her then nodded. Yes Shizune, Haku said to her. As the two walked downstairs, Haku soon turned to her and smiled. So what book were you reading? Haku asked her. Shizune looked at her and smiled. It is called Introduction to Torture. It is a very good book. It even shows torture using your ice affinity, Shizune said to her. Haku chuckled at the thought of using her affinity in such a way, but soon stopped. Oh Shizune, Haku said to her. Shizune soon stopped and turned around. Yes Haku, she said to her, waiting for the ice mistress to respond. I wanted Sakura and Sasuke train today and I think she is teaching him how to use his Sharingan along with some genjutsu training, Haku said to her. Shizune quirked up an eyebrow, then pondered. The Uchiha bastards always could use their eyes for genjutsu. They were called the best when it came to genjutsu. It took me and Naruto-kun years to be able to break the Tsukuyomi of the Sharingan. It probably isn't a problem right now, but I will keep an eye on that. Though it's not like that emo Uchiha could beat me and Naruto-kun anyway, Shizune thought with a smile. Shizune broke her gaze and looked at Haku. Thank you Haku, that is some good info. I will tell Naruto-kun later, Shizune said to her. Haku nodded with a smile as they entered a vacant training spot. Shizune stood apart from Haku as the two stared at each other. Alright Haku, show me what you can do, Shizune said to her. Haku nodded as she took out 3 Senbon needles in one hand. Yes Shizune, I won't hold back, Haku said as she disappeared. Shizune chuckled as she looked around. Your speed has definitely improved Haku, but Haku soon appeared behind Shizune as she threw out her Senbon needles. Soon Shizune smirked. You have to do better than that, Shizune said as she grabbed the 3 needles. Haku gasped as Shizune ran at her. Haku adopted a defensive stance as she got ready to block Shizune's blows. Shizune smirked as she pivoted her foot and disappeared. Haku gasped as she suddenly felt a punch to her face that sent her into a nearby tree. Damn it, I didn't anticipate the move fast enough, Haku said with a grin. Haku soon got up and looked to see Shizune smiling across the field. Where is this amazing jutsu, Haku? Shizune asked her. Haku smiled as she did some hand signs. Houten. Tikoku Kori no Hari, ice style. Imperial ice daggers, Haku yelled as water around her turned to ice. Shizune smiled as Haku sent the daggers at her. Shizune easily dodged them as she looked up. Shizune's grin went wider as she chuckled. This might be a problem, Shizune said as she saw thousands of needles surround her. Shizune smirked at Haku's creativity. Is this your new jutsu, Haku? Shizune asked her. Haku smiled, but shook her head. No way, Shizune. I promise that my new jutsu is very amazing, Haku said to her. Shizune smiled as Haku sent the needles at her. Shizune smiled as the needles neared her and soon impaled the target. Haku smiled and looked around. Come out, Shizune. I know that technique isn't enough to even scratch you, Haku said with a smile. Shizune soon appeared from behind a tree and smiled. Oh good, you knew that. At least you knew that, Shizune said to her. Haku smiled with a nod as her breathing slowed. Shizune smiled, but soon felt a temperature in the air go down. The temperature kept dropping until it seemed like it was winter outside. Shizune could see her breath as the cold air flowed around her. What is this? Shizune wondered. Haku smiled. This is my just you, Shizune, Haku said as she made 3 ice and bond needles. Shizune smirked as she got into her stance. Houten. With Naruto and his group. Naruto and the group were at a small cafe as they took a break from their trip. Kurenai had taken Hinata and Shino to a vacant spot to get in some private training. As Naruto, Tsume, and Anko sat on table enjoying their food, they decided to discuss some plans. So what are we going to do if you tell your mother your plan? Anko asked him. Naruto sighed. That can go 2 ways, Anko-chan. She can either agree to it or she can try to kill me, Naruto said with a shrug of his shoulders. Anko and Tsume chuckled at the thought, but didn't say anything. As the trio enjoyed some dango, their peace was suddenly interrupted by a pair of random shinobi. Hey ladies, why not ditch the kid and have some fun with us? The two said with a smile. Tsume and Anko ignored them as they continued to talk with Naruto. As they went about their conversation, the men's eyes twitched as they felt irritated for being ignored. Hey, we are talking to you, one of them said as he slammed his hands on the table causing some attention. Naruto sighed as he cracked his knuckles. Before he could get up, Tsume and Anko stopped him with their hands. Can we have this one, Naruto-kun? They asked him. Naruto smiled as he waved his hands. Go right ahead, Anko-chan, Tsume-chan, Naruto said to them. Both women smiled as they got up. Both men smiled as they thought the girls accepted their offer. Well then, ladies, let's go, they said to them. Tsume and Anko smiled as they grabbed each man's arm and walked out the cafe. Naruto chuckled as he saw Tsume and Anko wink at him as they left. Naruto and the people in the store relaxed as conversation continued. Soon screams of anguish filled the outside as men could be heard. Everyone jumped up at the screams and were suddenly afraid of what happened. Naruto soon smiled as his mates and their jobs. Naruto turned to the door to see Anko with a bloody kunai and Tsume with bloody claws. Naruto chuckled as he saw Anko her kunai clean and Tsume wiped her hands off as they sat down. Do I want to know? Naruto asked them. Tsume and Anko looked at him, then at each other and smiled as they looked back at him. No, you probably don't, but I will say that they won't have no need for women anymore, Tsume said to her. Anko laughed with a nod. Naruto chuckled as they got up to leave. As the three exited the cafe, they turned to see Kurenai, Shino and Hinata running towards them. What was that scream, you guys? Shino asked them. Everyone looked at each other with blank faces and turned to the others. Couldn't tell ya, Shino, I have no idea, but it is time to go anyway, Naruto said to them. Shino and Hinata nodded, though Kurenai smirked at what she could only imagine as torture for the people who went against them. Kurenai turned to see Shino and Hinata's confused faces. Kurenai simply shrugged and went off with Naruto, Tsume and Anko. Shino and Hinata stared for a while, but decided to do nothing and jumped through the trees, leaving the cafe behind. Namikaze compound. Shizune and Haku walked back to the compound as everyone stared at the bruises both endured. Shizune was carrying an unconscious Haku as she took her upstairs. Shizune smiled as she placed her on the bed. Man, that jutsu is amazing. If me and Naruto-kun weren't in the Chunin exams, she would dominate the entire exam, Shizune said as she left Haku on her bed to go to sleep. You are a force to be reckoned with, Haku. I can't wait to see Naruto-kun's face when he sees your jutsu, Shizune said as she closed the door. As Shizune walked, she suddenly opened up the mental link with Naruto. Naruto-kun, are you there? Shizune mentally asked. Between Konoha and Wave Country. Everyone rushed through the trees as Naruto flinched for a second. Is something wrong, Naruto-kun? Anko asked him. Naruto smiled. Shizune is trying to contact me. Hang on, Naruto said to her. Everyone was soon silent as he formed his link. I am here, Shizu-chan. What is the matter? Naruto asked. Shizune smiled as she took a breath. I just had a spar with Haku and I have to tell you she made a new jutsu, Shizune said to him. Naruto smiled at the information. That's Haku-chan for you, Naruto mentally said to her. Shizune chuckled, but nodded. Yeah, I must say that you will be awestruck when she shows it in the Chunin exams, Shizune answered. Naruto chuckled and got pumped at the thought of Haku and her new jutsu. I can't wait then, but is there something else you wanted? Naruto asked her. Shizune nodded. Yes, according to Haku Imotem and his pink bitch are training to master his genjutsu for the Sharingan, Shizune replied. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he remembered how troublesome Sasuke's genjutsu was in the future. So that bastard is trying to do that now. Well, he is going to be new at it for a while, but try not to let that power get too far. He may not be able to contain us in a TS Yukuyomi genjutsu, but it is a hassle to get out of, Naruto said to her. Shizune nodded. Got it. I doubt he could produce an efficient one yet anyway, but I will find a way, I guess, Shizune said to him. Naruto nodded with a smile. Alright, Shizune-chan, I am going to go now. Keep me informed, Naruto said to her. Shizune nodded as they cut the mental link. Shizune smiled as she went back to her room and picked up her book. I guess I could do a genjutsu to him. I wonder how awful I can make it for him, Shizune said with an evil smile as she read her book. With the Suna shinobi, Baki had returned to Konoha as he spotted Gaara and his group. Gaining their attention, everyone to Baki, they all shunshined to their temporary house. So what happened, Baki? Kankuro asked him. Baki sighed as he looked at them. It turns out that the blonde was right. Our cage is dead and we have more than enough evidence to show that Orochimaru is behind this, Baki said to them. Everyone gasped, though with Gaara no one could tell. So we got played? Temari asked him. Baki nodded. Kankuro slammed his fist to the floor. Damn it. So what is the plan, Baki? Kankuro asked him. Baki sighed as he looked at the three. We are staying for the Chunin exams, but we are out of the war and will be helping Konoha in order to maintain our alliance to them, Baki explained. All three siblings nodded and sighed. Well, looks like we are at a change in plans, Kankuro said to them. Temari sighed. I can't believe father is dead, although he did try to kill Gaara on more than one occasion, so maybe that is a good thing, Temari said to them. Both shrugged as Gaara left the room. You think he will cooperate? Kankuro asked her. Temari looked at him then out the door. I have no idea. I guess we can only hope, Temari said to him. Though I wouldn't mind fighting alongside that blonde Kami, Temari thought as she dazed over Naruto. Kankuro chuckled at her actions. Hey Temari, I think you should stop drooling, Kankuro said to her. Temari snapped out of her daze and blushed from embarrassment as Kankuro fell to the floor and laughed. Tamari smiled as she grew a tick on her head as she grabbed her fan. Yes, yes, laugh it up, Konkuro. Laugh it up all the way to hell, Tamari yelled as she swung her fan. Konkuro narrowly escaped the blow as he ran out the window. Tamari, calm down, he said as he ran away. Tamari bursted through the window as she chased after Konkuro. Get your makeup wearing back here, she yelled. Konkuro turned to her in frustration. It's not makeup. It's war paint, he yelled to her. It doesn't matter. Just get back here so I can kick your, Tamari said as she swung her fan around as she chased Konkuro around the village. Naruto and his group finally made it to Wave Country with the sun in the middle of the sky. Everyone was quite tired as they came up to the site of the bridge. As they walked, Sume was the first to take notice of the name of the bridge. Oh my Kami, Sume said with her mouth open. Everyone turned to see Sume looking up at a sign. Following her eyes, everyone looked to see the sign at the top of the bridge. Now I have seen everything, Shino said with his mouth partly open. Everyone nodded in agreement as Anko looked at Naruto. Naruto-kun, what did you do? Anko said to him. Naruto shrugged his shoulders. Got me, Anko-chan, Naruto said with a smile. Everyone turned to Naruto like he was insane. How is it that you don't know? No one gets a bridge named after them and doesn't know, Kurenai said to him. Naruto smiled. Maybe I didn't get that memo, he replied. Everyone's sweat dropped as they looked at the bridge. Anko, Sume and Kurenai soon turned to Naruto with a few glares. We will get some answers later, to-kun, they said to him. Naruto smiled with a nod as they all passed the bridge and came into the town. Naruto smiled as he saw that the town was in better shape than when he was there last time. Everyone had better clothes, no one was skinny from lack of food, and there was plenty of businesses in bloom. This place sure has perked up since the last time, Naruto said to himself. As everyone walked through the town, they could feel the intense gazes they were getting from people. Naruto wasn't used to these gazes. There was no hate or maliciousness in them, but appreciation. Soon a little girl came up to the group with a smile. Excuse me, are you Naruto Uzumaki? The girl is the blonde. Naruto smiled as he crouched. Yes, I am. Is there something I can do for you? He asked her. The girl smiled as she held out her notebook. You are the hero of Wave Country. I wanted to say thank you, and can I have your autograph? She asked him. Naruto threw a warm smile at her as he nodded. Naruto took her book and signed his name in it. The girl squealed as she ran off with a bright smile. It seems Naruto-kun has a way with the little ones, Kurenai said with a smile. Naruto sighed with a chuckle as he got up. Well, let's go talk to the mayor of this town for information. I have a good idea who it might be, Naruto said with a grin as he walked off. Anko knew what he meant and walked off also. Everyone else was left to wonder about his words, but nonetheless followed. As everyone came up to the fancy-looking building, Kurenai decided to stop the group. All right everyone, Hinata, Shino, and I are going to go train. We will meet up with you guys at the hotel, Kurenai said to Sume, Naruto, and Anko. All three nodded as Kurenai along with Shino and Hinata shunshined out of sight. Naruto, Sume, and Anko smiled as Naruto opened the door. Is anyone there? Naruto called. Soon someone came to the door as he smiled. Naruto chuckled as he looked at the man. Well, if it isn't Naruto and Anko, how is it going? The man asked them. Naruto nodded. Very well, Tazuna-san. I see that the town is doing good, Naruto told him. Tazuna nodded with a smile as he looked at the group of three. Yeah, after Gato died, we were able to get back on our feet. We are a very thriving country now, Tazuna said to him. Naruto and Anko nodded as Tazuna turned to see the third member. Hello, I don't think we have met, Tazuna said to her. Sume laughed with a smile as she nodded. No, I guess not. Hello, I am Sume Inuzuka, nice to meet you, Sume said with a slight bow. Tazuna bowed also as his eyes snapped open. Are you by chance related to Kiba Inuzuka? He asked her. Sume smiled with a nod. Yes, He is my son, Tsume answered. Tazuna nodded as he let the group inside. Tsunami, Inari, Naruto and some friends are here, Tazuna yelled throughout the house. Tsunami appeared from the kitchen and smiled to see the blonde and purple-haired figures in the house. Hello Naruto-san, Anko-san, long time no see, Tsunami said to them. Both nodded as Naruto was suddenly tackled by a boy. Hey there Inari, Naruto said to him. Inari smiled as he slightly punched Naruto's side. You left without me giving you thanks. I wanted to thank you for giving me my courage back. I appreciate it. Thank you Naruto-ni-san, Inari said to him. Naruto smiled as he patted Inari's black hair. After a while, Inari allowed Naruto to get up as everyone sat at the table in the kitchen. Tazuna, I actually came here to see if you could help me find someone, Naruto said to him. Tazuna, Tsunami and Inari quirked up as they heard him. I am more than willing to help you, but who are you looking for? Tazuna asked him. Naruto sighed as he placed his elbows on the table. I am looking for a woman named Kushina Uzumaki, Naruto said to him. Tazuna formed a thinking pose as he tried to remember the people of the town. I might have seen her, but do you have a picture? Naruto nodded as he took out a photo of Kushina. As Tazuna took the photo he inspected the picture. The woman was a redhead, in her early 30s. Her body was very curved into a near-hourglass figure. Tazuna dropped his jaw as he looked at the photo. Hey Tsunami, Inari remember her? Tazuna said to them as he gave them the photo. Both looked at the photo as their eyes widened. Oh it's her. I remember her, Inari said shocking Naruto, Tsume, and Anko. Tsunami nodded in agreement as they gave back the photo. Yeah we know her. She lived here for a good while. She told us she was leaving for a town near here. I think she left today. You can still catch her, Tazuna said to them. Naruto and the group smiled as they got up. Wait where do you remember her from? Naruto asked them. Tazuna smiled as he told Naruto the story of how he found Kushina traveling and also the fact that she was low on supplies. He told of how stubborn Kushina was too stubborn to seek help, but he managed to convince her. She decided to stay in the town for a bit as a little guardian until the town got better. Then he told them about her leaving to the next town. Naruto and his group smiled as they ran out the door. Thank you Tazuna, I will see you all later. Right now I have to find her, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded, but Naruto was stopped by Tsunami. Why are you looking for her though? She asked him. Naruto smiled as he turned back to them. Because she is, my mother, Naruto said as he closed the door, leaving a shocked family in the room. Naruto, Tsume, and Anko hopped off the roofs as Naruto managed to pick up Kurenai's chakra signature. Everyone smiled as they landed to see an exhausted Hinata and Shino. Training hard Shino? Naruto asked him. Shino didn't find the energy to reply, so instead he responded by a feint. Naruto smiled as he turned to Hinata. You look like you are doing well Hinata, Naruto said to her. Hinata blushed a deep red, but smiled. TT thank you Naruto-kun, she said to him. Naruto nodded as he turned to Kurenai. Kurenai, I want you, Shino, and Hinata to go to the hotel. Me, Anko, and Tsume have a lead on my mother and we are going to go a few miles ahead. We should be back by tonight, Naruto said to her. Kurenai nodded as she took Shino and Hinata to the hotel. Alright you two, let's go find her before she gets away, Naruto said to them. Tsume and Anko nodded as they kissed each side of his cheek. Lead the way Naru-kun, Anko said to him. Tsume nodded as they took to the trees and went after Kushina. A few hours later, Naruto, Anko, and Tsume appeared in the town as they took in the sights. Naruto smiled as he saw children run through the streets and people do their business. Naruto sighed as he turned to Anko and Tsume. Alright, let's fan out and find her. Check all the places for information. We will meet back at the entrance to the town in 1 hour, Naruto said to them. Anko and Tsume nodded as they walked off. Alright where are you hiding Ka-san? Naruto thought as he went through the town. Naruto checked the hotels, motels and a few bars, but came up short. Naruto sighed as he went into a hotel. "Excuse me," he said, alerting the receptionist to his presence. "Hello, sir. May I help you?" she asked him. Naruto nodded. "Hello, has a red-headed woman appeared in this place at all today?" Naruto asked the woman. The woman nodded as she took out a book. "Yes, a few hours ago. She paid for a room here and soon left after her stuff was settled," the receptionist said to him. Naruto's face brightened as he heard that. "Do you remember her name?" he asked. I believe her name was Kushina Uzumaki," the woman said to him. Naruto smiled with a nod as he ran out the hotel, leaving a confused receptionist behind. "So she is here, now I just have to find her," Naruto said to himself as he ran through the town. As he ran through the town, Naruto heard a loud noise as he turned to see a man thrown out of a random bar and hit a wall. Naruto narrowed his eyes as he looked to see one hell of a woman come out. "I said no, Databane. Now leave me alone before I cut your nads off," the woman yelled as she waved her sword around. Naruto smirked as he saw the man run off, afraid for his life. The woman soon turned to the laughing boy to the corner and narrowed her eyes. "What are you laughing at, boy?" Kushina asked Naruto. Naruto stopped smirking as looked at his mother. "Just laughing at the way you dealt with him. Why am I a problem?" Naruto asked her. Kushina narrowed her eyes as she felt that she had seen the blonde before. Kushina walked up closer to the blonde as she took in his form. "He looks like a younger version of Minato," Kushina thought as she looked over Naruto. Naruto in turn checked out his mother. He could easily say she was a hot woman. He saw Kushina wear a red tank top that seemed to be sleeveless. She wore black jeans along with standard shinobi shoes. Naruto took a quick glance at his mother's chest and nearly blushed at the size of her S. All in all, Naruto was getting the hots for his own mother. Kushina could feel his stares on her as she swung her sword at his neck, that he easily blocked, much to her surprise. "Sorry, Ka-san, but you aren't killing me," Naruto said to her. Kushina was taken back by his statement as she looked at him. "You don't remember me, do you?" Naruto asked her. Kushina shook her head, causing Naruto to sigh. "That hurts, Ka-san, how could you forget me?" Naruto asked her. Kushina quickly went through her memories and only one person came to mind as it caused her to gasp and nearly cry. Naruto?" she asked him. Naruto nodded with a smile as he looked at her. "That's right, Ka-san, it's me, Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze," Naruto said to her with a smile. Kushina stumbled as she soon fell back and hit the floor. Naruto looked at her and sighed. "I guess that was overload on her head," Naruto said as he picked Kushina up and headed for her hotel. 25 minutes later, Kushina soon woke up to the sight of the hotel ceiling as she looked to see her stuff on the side of the room. Kushina sighed as she looked around. Was that all a dream? She wondered. Not in the least, someone said to her. Kushina turned her head to see Naruto sitting in a chair. "It wasn't a dream?" she asked him. Naruto smiled much to Kushina's embarrassment. "No, Ka-san, it wasn't. You apparently fainted after my news," Naruto said to her. Kushina sighed. "Alright, how can I know that you are really my son?" she asked him. She had been lied to by the council, she figured, and if this was Naruto, there was going to be hell to pay for the council. However, somewhere she was pleading that it was him. Naruto pondered as he held out his hand. Naruto focused chakra as a Rasengan formed in his hand. Kushina gasped at her husband's jutsu. "I was able to find the compound in Konoha and I have some of my family living there," Naruto said to her, shocking Kushina. "We had other family?" she asked him. Naruto chuckled as he looked at her. "No, what I mean is family that I have found for myself. The Clan Restoration Act was used on me," Naruto said to her. Kushina nodded understanding as she listened to his word. Naruto managed to explain everything to Kushina apart from Konoha's destruction. Naruto told her about his life as the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi that was sealed in him. Kushina cried as she heard her son's story. She never wanted that for him, She didn't even know he survived the process, but it still saddened her. My father did this to me though, you protested, right? Naruto asked her. Kushina looked at the ground and nodded. I told him that I didn't want my son to live with such a burden, but he was confident that you would be seen as a hero. I still told him no, but then everything went black. I couldn't remember much else. The council told me that you died from the process. I was in grief from that experience, so I just left. I at least tried to check if they were wrong, but I couldn't find anything. I am very sorry, Naruto-kun, Kushina said to him. Naruto sighed, then formed a smile. Think nothing of it, Ka-san, but I want you to come home with me. If you do, then I will have something important to tell you later, Naruto said to her. Kushina looked at him and smiled. All right, I will go back. In truth, I was just wandering around, I had no real destination in mind, Kushina said to him. Naruto smiled as he gave Kushina a tight hug as his muscles wrapped around her body. Kushina suddenly blushed as she felt his muscles. Was my son always this ripped? His muscles feel amazing. Wait, why am I blushing? He is my son, snap out of it, Kushina thought as she hugged Naruto. After a few minutes, both parted as Kushina grabbed her stuff and checked out of the hotel. Alright, let's meet up with the other two girls, Naruto said to her. Kushina chuckled as she looked at him. And who are these girls? She asked him. Naruto looked at her and smiled. Sume Inuzuka and Anko Mitarashi, Naruto told her. Kushina looked at him and dropped her jaw. Wait, you got Sume? She almost always turned down any guy, how did you get her? Kushina asked him. Naruto smiled. Well, maybe it had something to do with muscles and a kami-like body, Naruto said to her. Kushina looked confused, but waved it off. After a while, Naruto and Kushina made it to the entrance of the town as they saw Anko and Sume waiting for them. Hey hubby Haim, Inu Haim, Naruto said to them. Both women smiled as they walked up to him. Hey Naru-kun, sorry but we couldn't find. Anko paused to see the red-headed woman behind him smiling. Oh, never mind then, Anko said with a smile. Kushina chuckled as she looked at them. So these are my son's women, or are there more? Kushina asked them. Both women looked at each other and smiled. There are more, Kushina, and we all live together, Sume said to her. Kushina nodded as everyone left the town to go back to Wave Country. So Sume, exactly why are you dating my son? Kushina asked her, eager to know. Sume smiled as she looked at Naruto. Not only is he stronger than most of the ninja in Konoha, but he is just some kami handsome that I couldn't resist, Sume said with a blush. Naruto smiled as he kissed her cheek. Love you too, Sume-chan, Naruto said to her. Sume blushed with a nod as everyone quickened their pace through the trees. Naruto was rather happy to have his mother back with him, but also smiled at the destruction she could see use with her legendary sword techniques. Wave Country, nighttime. Everyone smiled as they finally entered Wave and went straight for the hotel. Alright, we are all going to bed and will go back to Konoha tomorrow, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded, but since they didn't pay for a room for Kushina, Naruto decided that she would sleep with him for tonight, to which both of the women grumbled but complied. They soon met up with Kurenai and the others as everyone went to sleep. With Naruto and Kushina, since Naruto paid for only a single bed, he realized that he would have to share his bed with his mother. Then why was he so bothered about it? Calm down, she is your mother for Kami's sake. It's not like anything is going to happen. Wait, do I want something to happen? What is wrong with me? No, nothing is wrong, I just have the hots for my mother. Oh yeah, that is totally normal, Naruto thought to himself as he put on his sleepwear. Naruto sighed as he tried to calm down. Kushina soon came out of the bathroom as she walked closer to the bed. Why am I so embarrassed right now? He is my son, but still that body is wonderful and muscular. I think I might go insane. What am I saying? Snap out of it, Kushina. You are his mother, he might hate you for thinking that way, Kushina thought as she headed to the bed. Kushina put on her best smile as she made herself known. Ready to go to bed, Naruto-kun? Kushina asked him. Yes, Ka-san. Let's go too. Naruto soon turned around and saw his mother in her nightgown. Damn it, Ka-san. That is too hot. It's not fair. Why are you my mother? Great, now she might hate her son for being a pervert, Naruto thought as he blushed a deep red from seeing his mother. Are ready, Ka-san, Naruto said as he got in the bed, to which Kushina soon followed. Nothing will happen, nothing will happen, nothing will happen. Both thought as they went to sleep. Soon everyone was sleeping peacefully, having sweet dreams, all except two people. Man, her breath is so warm, it feels nice. I can't believe that she is this close to me, Naruto thought as he tried to sleep, but to no avail. He is so close to me. I am not pervert, but still, Kushina thought. Both were very anxious as they tried to sleep of certain desires that loomed. Soon both felt cold as the wind blew across the window. Both unconsciously moved closer to each other for some warmth until they realized their close contact. Both blushed, though the other couldn't see it. She's my Ka-san, she's my Ka-san, she's my Ka-san. He's my son, he's my son, he's my son, both thought as they hugged to get warmth. Naruto soon fidgeted to get comfortable, but due to the close contact, his lips soon pressed to hers as both were in shock. He's kissing me, she thought. Kushina was about to part from him, until he did something she didn't expect. Naruto soon put more into the kiss as managed to her lips a bit. Kushina shuddered as she tried to fight her will not to give in. Ah, screw this. I can't take it. He's my son, but so what? The headband means you are legally an adult. I just need a kiss right now, Kushina thought as she pushed against him, causing a Kushina ed as she kissed Naruto and opened his mouth to allow access to his tongue. Both grew hot from the kiss as they continued to have their moment. Soon both broke from the kiss as they panted from air. Soon both looked at each other and smiled. Kushina wrapped her arms around Naruto and Naruto did the same as they went to sleep. This might not be so bad, they both thought as they slept. Naruto woke up to the rays of sunshine as he looked out the window. Naruto soon turned to see Kushina sleeping with a smile on her face. Naruto chuckled at the sight of her comforted face. Glad to have you here, Ka-san, Naruto said as he got up. Naruto soon stretched as he dropped his henge to reveal his features. The ears on his head came into view as the whisker marks on his face darkened. Soon Naruto stretched out his tail as he let it sway around for a while. Naruto smiled as he did his standard stretches. As he finished his stretches, Naruto headed for the shower as he saw his mother starting to wake up. Naruto quickly hung back as he appeared in his 13-year-old form. Good morning, Ka-san, Naruto said to her. Kushina looked to see her son near the bathroom as she remembered what happened last night. Kushina suddenly blushed as she averted her son's gaze. Good morning, Naruto-kun, Kushina managed to say. Naruto slightly smiled as he noticed her blush. Deciding to leave it at that, he nodded as he entered the shower. As he washed up, Naruto went through the results of everyone's training back in the Namikaze compound. He knew everyone was strong, but he wanted to test it out. He and Shizune were still on a different level than everyone else, so they weren't really the best of matches against everyone. Where can I test everyone? We only have a week left until the Chunin exams, so where can we go? Naruto thought as he felt the warm water hit his skin. Naruto closed his eyes as he tried to figure out his idea. Suddenly Naruto's eyes shot open as he smiled. Naruto soon laughed as got up. Yeah, we can do that. I might be able to get some new allies from this anyway. Yeah, I think Shizune-chan will like this a lot, Naruto said as he stepped outside the shower with his towel. Naruto saw Kushina reading a book until he smiled. You can go in, Ka-san, Naruto said to her. Kushina nodded with a smile as she set down her book on the table. Alright, Naruto-kun, I'll be back in a minute, Kushina said as she stepped into the shower. Naruto nodded as he saw Hi Mother disappear into the room. Naruto smiled as he quickly put on his clothes and walked out the room. Naruto soon came to Sume and Anko's room as he knocked on the door. After 3 minutes, Sume opened the door and smiled. "Hello Naruto-kun, how can we help you?" Sume asked him as he walked into the room. He saw Anko just finished dressing as she turned to meet the blonde Hanyu. Naruto chuckled as he turned to them. "Inu-heim, hubby-heim, I think it is time I assessed everyone's skill at this point. So we will spend this last week as a final lesson of sorts," Naruto said to the two confused girls. Naruto smiled as he sat down. "What I mean is that we are going to see just how powerful everyone in the Namikaze compound is currently," Naruto said to them. Both women nodded in understanding of his words. "So what are we going to do?" Anko asked, more than curious to know what this training entailed. Naruto smiled as he turned to Anko. "We are going to Namikaze compound." Shizune smiled as she saw a tired Kin on the ground. "Come on Kin, or are you done?" Shizune said to her. Kin smiled as her grayish tail swayed. Kin had become a Hanyu a few days ago after a spare with Shizune. Kin soon adjusted well to the new power she had as she managed to get the hang of it in a few hours. "Far from done Shizune-san," Kin said as she did some hand signs. Kaden. Jigoku Kitsune Enden, fire style. Hell Fox Flame Bullet, Kin yelled as she blew the fire at Shizune. Shizune smiled as she saw the fire changed into a fox as it charged her. "Not bad," Shizune said as she was engulfed by the fire. Kin fell to the ground as she looked at the destruction. Kin smirked until she saw Shizune walk out of the fire unscathed. "Very good Kin," Shizune said to her. Kin sighed as she breathed heavily. "Guess I am nowhere near your level yet, but I will get there," Kin said with a smile. Shizune nodded as she shouldered Kin. "You are now a force to be reckoned with Kin," Shizune proudly said to her. Kin nodded as they walked inside. Shizune soon healed Kin as she allowed the girl to rest on the couch. Shizune soon smiled as she felt Naruto calling her. "You there Shizu-chan?" "Yeah Naruto-kun, what is it?" Quote, "We are going to put a few final touches on everyone's training." Shizune smirked as she waited to hear Naruto's idea for this training. "So what are we going to do?" Naruto chuckled as he turned to see Anko giant smile along with Sume. "Gather everyone in the house to you, I will tell then." Shizune nodded as she stood up. Shizune soon looked at Kin, who was up and about after a few minutes. "I think our regenerative abilities went up also," Shizune said as Kin turned to her. "What's the matter Shizune?" Kin asked her. Shizune smiled as she turned to Kin. "We have to get everyone in the house. Naruto-kun has something to tell us," Shizune said to her. At the sound of Naruto's name, Kin quickly smiled as her tail wagged from left to right. Kin nodded as she ran to get everyone else. Shizune smiled as she went to find everyone also. After 30 minutes, everyone was now found as they rested on the mat in the living room of the house. "So what is this meeting about Shizune?" Hana asked her as she petted one of her dogs. Zabuza, Haku, Kiba and Kin nodded as they waited for Shizune to speak. Shizune smiled as she closed her eyes. "All right Naruto-kun, we are all here," Shizune said. Everyone was shocked as they heard Shizune's voice. "How are we talking right now?" Kiba asked in thought. Shizune and Naruto chuckled as they explained. "This is telepathy Kiba. We are able to talk to each other through thought even across long distances," Naruto explained to him. Kiba and everyone else seemed to understand as Naruto started to explain the meeting. "All right everyone, I know you have all trained hard, but I want to see how strong everyone is. Trust me, I know that you are strong, but I just want to check as a precaution. We won't attack Konoha just yet, but we will do something nearly as good for us," Naruto said to them. Everyone quirked up as they heard him. "So what are we doing Naruto-kun?" Hana asked him. Naruto smiled though everyone couldn't see it. "We are going to play a part in the removal of Yagura, the fourth Mizukage of Kurigakure," Naruto said to them. Everyone was suddenly ablaze with questions, but Zabuza seemed to be the most obvious. "I remember him. He was the reason I became an ex-Kiri shinobi anyway. He was always a ruthless tyrant. I tried to overthrow him, but I failed, Zabuza said to them. Naruto chuckled. But you didn't have this much power before, did you? Naruto asked him. Zabuza's eyes shot open with a smile. No, I didn't. Thank you, Gaki. I am going to enjoy this, Zabuza said aloud. Everyone laughed and nodded as they followed Naruto's plan. But Naruto-kun, what do we get out of trying to overthrow the fourth Mizukage? Kin asked him. Naruto smiled as he sighed. I am more than sure the person trying to overthrow him currently will be grateful for our help. I think that she will be willing to help our cause if we help hers, Naruto said to them. Everyone quirked up. And who are we helping? Haku asked, though inside she hadn't smiled as he closed his eyes for a second. We are going to help the next Mizukage, Mei Terumi, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded as they had heard of her from their friends or teachers. I wonder how much she has grown, Zabuza thought. Haku turned to Zabuza. You know her, Zabuza-sama. Yeah, she was always a firecracker as a kid. She got me in so much trouble, haha, Zabuza said with a slight laugh. Everyone wanted to ask more questions, but left it at that. Alright everyone, this has nothing to do with Konoha, so try to be discreet when leaving. We will meet at Chizuna's house. Kiba remembers the way, so bring whatever you eat and get going. We will wait here for you to arrive, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded as they cut the mental connection. Everyone suddenly smiled as they raced through the house to pack. Zabuza grabbed his sword as he put it on his back. Shizune sealed some scrolls and kunai into her wardrobe. Haku wore her traditional clothes, except without the hunter mask. Kiba and Hana managed to find their kunai pouches as they dressed into their clothes. Kin found her Senbon needles and a few scrolls for her Otogakure village. Soon she sealed those also. Soon everyone entered the living room again as they finished their things. Alright, is everyone ready? Shizune asked them. Everyone nodded as Shizune made shadow clones for everyone that lasted for a total of 5 days. Shizune and everyone smiled as they walked out the house. Everyone put their senses on high alert for any shinobi present. When they couldn't find any, everyone shunshined out of sight to go meet up with Naruto. Back with Naruto, Tsume, and Anko got up as they stretched for their positions. As everyone got up, Tsume smiled. So we are doing like a practice invasion of Konoha? Tsume asked him. Naruto smiled. That's exactly right, Inuheim. This will be good training for everyone, Naruto said to her. Tsume nodded as Anko sealed some more things. This is getting good, Anko said, which caused Naruto and Tsume to smile. Well, Inuheim, hubby Heim, I have to go back and pack also. Also gotta tell my mother about the change in course, Naruto said to them. Both women nodded as each gave Naruto a kiss on the cheek. Naruto blushed, but smiled as he left, leaving both girls to pack for the training they would get. As Naruto walked through the hallway, he suddenly came to a stop as he felt someone's presence. Eavesdropping Benny Heim? Naruto asked. Kurenai chuckled, but dropped the genjutsu. She walked until she was next to Naruto. Do I get to come also? Kurenai asked him. Naruto turned to the side and looked at her, smile. What about Hinata and Shino? Naruto asked her. Kurenai smiled as she looked up at the ceiling. I taught them all I knew. Now they need to research on their own for their training, so I have the free time now, Kurenai said to him. Naruto laughed as he looked at her. Well, I won't say you can't come. You are more than welcome to. You are a part of my family now, so why shouldn't you come? Naruto said to her. Kurenai shrugged her shoulders as she grabbed Naruto's head and slammed her lips into his. Naruto smiled as he recovered and leaned into the kiss. Both soon parted as Kurenai ate her lips. What was that for? Naruto asked her. Kurenai blushed with a smile. Just a thank you. Now I have to pack, Kurenai said to him. Naruto nodded as he saw her walk away. Naruto smiled as he opened the door to his room to see his mother in her clothes. Ka-san, we are taking a bit of a detour and are going to Konohagakure, Naruto said to her. Kushina soon looked to him with a confused grin as she put her sword on her back. Why? She asked him. Naruto stumbled for a second, but recovered fast enough. Recent news for Gigi, our Hokage. He wants us to investigate something there, so we are meeting up with some other people, Naruto saw it to her. Kushina looked at Naruto and could only see half the truth in his words, but she decided to go with it. Alright Naruto-kun, let's go. Just give me a moment to pack some things, Kushina said as she started to pack. Naruto could tell she was suspicious, but decided to be interrogated by her later. Naruto sighed as he walked over to the bed. Naruto soon took out his sword, Chiyuru, as he looked at it. Naruto smiled as he put the sword on his back and sealed some more things. Soon everyone was packed as they exited the entrance of the hotel. Kurenai gave Shino and Hinata some scrolls for training. Both thanked her as they went to the trees and went back to the village. So when do we leave? Anko asked him. Naruto smiled as he laid his bag against a tree. After everyone else shows up, Naruto said to her. Everyone's sweat dropped as they looked at each other. And how long is that? Sume asked him. Naruto smiled as he looked at them. About 2 hours, Naruto said to them. The 4 women grew a tick as they looked at Naruto. Naruto looked at them all then smiled. This is a shadow clone, sorry, but you're only hitting thin air, Naruto said to them. The girls looked at him and smiled, which caused Naruto to get slightly worried. Then could you give Naruto-kun this message? Kushina asked him. Naruto looked at them as they drew weapons. Naruto instantly moved to the trees as he cursed. I don't think the clone would have dodged, Anko said to him. Everyone nodded as Naruto began to run through the trees. Naruto, get back here, they all yelled, but inside were laughing. With Shizune and the others. Everyone managed to get away from Konoha as they all sped to the rendezvous point to meet up with Naruto and the others. So how long till we get there? Kiba asked. Shizune looked at him and smiled. Unhinged maybe about 2 hours, Shizune said to them. Everyone nodded as they unhinged their appearances. Everyone looked like half-fox humans as they sunshined through the trees at a great speed. 2 hours later, Naruto and the others were quietly waiting for the others as they sat near a tree. The girls gave up on Naruto after they failed to catch him. Everyone decided to wait as Kushina opened her eyes and looked at her soon. Alright Naruto-kun, could you and the others drop the henge so I can see what my son looks like? Kushina asked him. Naruto slightly smiled as he looked at Sume's and Anko's worried faces. It's alright Inuheim, hubby Heim, Naruto said, which caused them to calm down. So Ka-san, when did you notice? Naruto asked her. Kushina soon looked up and smiled. Around this morning when I saw you stretch, it confirmed my suspicions, but I just want to know now, Kushina said to him. Naruto chuckled as he had dropped his guard for that moment. Alright, I guess nothing gets past my Ka-san, Naruto said with a grin as Kushina gave a proud nod. Naruto sighed as he wondered how many times he told of his painful past or their future. In all truth Ka-san, I am going to destroy Konoha, Naruto said simply with a cold stare that made Kushina flinch. Kushina looked at Naruto like she had just lost her son that she loved. Naruto could see the concern on her face, but continued. I know how much the village means to To-san and Ka-san, but if you saw what would become of it then you would want it destroyed also, Naruto said to her. Kushina looked at him in slight understanding. Yeah, they took her son from her and lied that he was alive. They might have even treated him how she would never have let them do to her son, but what could have made him angry enough to destroy Konoha? That village is going to become corrupted Ka-san by a very arrogant brat Uchiha, Naruto said to her. Kushina looked a bit shocked at that statement. But didn't the Uchiha clan get wiped out? She asked him. Naruto nodded. Yes, but there is one more that is loyal to Konoha, however they spoiled him now he thinks the world is at his feet, Naruto said to her. He will become the Rokudaime Hokage and he will then wage war on the other villages, Naruto continued. Kushina absorbed everything Naruto was saying as it shook her soul. She always remembered Minato saying how caring Konoha people were. He always said they were the kindest people you could find in the elemental nations, but this didn't sound like them at all. Ka-san, Sasuke Uchiha is the reason the world is going to be in such a bad shape. I am going to kill him and Konoha for that, but there is also personal reasons that I would rather not say yet, Naruto said to her. Kushina cried as Naruto finished the story. Everything seemed wrong in that future. It felt like a future that no one should live in. Naruto then went on to say how the Kyuubi turned him and his wife into Hanyu and were able to travel back to this time period to change that outcome. Kushina sighed slowly as everyone waited for her reaction to his words. Kushina slowly reached for her sword as Naruto reached for his. Kushina charged at Naruto until their blades crossed. Anko, Kurenai and Tsume were taken back by the force of the blades and were about to help Naruto until they saw Kushina smile. Kushina's smile turned into laughter as she withdrew her sword. Naruto looked up at her a bit confused. Kushina smiled as she looked at everyone's reaction. What? If you're going to destroy Konoha, then you better learn some of my techniques, Sochi, Kushina said to him with her smile. Naruto and the others looked at her dumbfounded, but Naruto soon smiled. Don't scare me like that, Ka-san, Naruto said to her. Kushina chuckled with a nod. Sorry Naruto-kun, couldn't resist it, but at least I know a lot more, Kushina said to him. Naruto nodded as he gave her a tight hug. Thank you for the help, Ka-san, Naruto said to her. Kushina suddenly blushed while she was wrapped in his grip. Of course Naruto-kun, I will always help you, Kushina said to him. Naruto nodded as he let go. Soon everyone smiled as they turned. Well, it seems everything is going to work out just fine, Naruto-kun. Shizune said to him. Naruto smiled as he turned to see his family in the tree smiling at him. Now Shizu-chan, you know that Ka-san is a good person, Naruto said to her. Shizune nodded as they all jumped down. Everyone took a moment to take in Kushina's features. Kushina in turn did the same. Who are these people, Naruto-kun? Kushina asked him. Naruto smiled as he turned to her. These people are my family and my help in destroying Konoha, Naruto said to her. Kushina smiled as she walked up to the group. Nice to meet you, I am Kushina Uzumaki, Kushina said to them. Everyone nodded as Naruto took out a map. Alright everyone, let's head to Kiri, we will be back before the Chunin exams and the invasion, Naruto said to them. Everyone nodded as they hit the trees and ran off to Kiri. Back in Konoha, an arrogant boy and his pink banshee follower were walking through Konoha as the boy received praises for all sides of the village, boosting his already high ego. Soon the girl looked at him and blushed as she gave him a book. Here Sasuke-kun, you have mastered the basics of genjutsu so fast. Here is a book on Chunin level genjutsu, the pink banshee said to the emo. Sasuke smirked as he took the book. It finally seems that you aren't a useless girl. Now the Dobi will kneel before me and my new powers, emo boy said triumphantly. Sakura smirked as she finally read up to Chunin level genjutsu. Next time that brunette will be getting her kicked in one of my most terrifying genjutsu, Sakura said with a smile. Sasuke seemed too interested in the book to really care. Soon Sasuke was met with a hug as he turned to see a blonde girl on him. Get off him, Ino pig, Sakura said to her. Ino turned to her rival and smirked. Shut up, billboard, Ino said to her. Ino soon turned to Sasuke. Sasuke-kun, why don't I show you something interesting? It will help in your training, Ino said to him. Sasuke looked at her and sighed. Fine Ino, but you will get hurt if this is a joke, Sasuke said to her. Ino nodded as she took